right? So they're telling us to determine if these two line segments are parallel, perpendicular. If two lines are parallel, all they have to do is get their slopes and compare them. Are they the same? They are parallel. If they're perpendicular, get their slopes. If one is the negative reciprocal of the other, or if you multiply both slopes and get -1, then they are perpendicular. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the slope. So the slope of line AB will be equal to change in y over the change in x, right? All I'm going to do is subtract the y's. Let me start from here, from A and go to B, right? So subtracting the y's, 8 minus 6, I'll get 2, -1 minus 2. I'll get, this would give us 2 out of -3, which is the same as actually -2 out of 3. That is AB. What about the slope of line CD? If I start from C to D, if I say change in y, subtract the y's, 2 minus 3 would give me a -1, right? And then -1 minus 3, what will that give me? So this is giving me a -1 out of a -4. Negative divided by negative, you get a positive. So this is giving me 1 out of 4. So look at this. Are they the same? Because if they're the same, then they're parallel. If one is the negative reciprocal of the other, then they are perpendicular. Another way, if you don't want to deal with negative reciprocal, if you multiply both slopes, do you get a -1? Let's try and see. If I multiply -2 over 3 times 1 out of 4, I get -2 out, which is -1 out of 6. So no, they are not perpendicular. So these two lines, AB and CD, they are neither parallel nor perpendicular. So they intersect, but they don't intersect at 90 degrees. So they're non-perpendicular, right? So all we have to do is calculate the slopes and compare them. Let's look at example 2, this example there. Yeah, we're going to do the same thing, right? We're going to get the slope of line AB, right? So this will give me a -1 out of 3. What about the slope of CB? And this would give you 3 out of 1, right? Look at these slopes. This is -1 out of 3, yeah? And this is 3 out of 1. Are they the same? If they're not the same, then they are not parallel. So let's go to find out, are they perpendicular? If they are perpendicular, one has to be the negative reciprocal. What is the negative reciprocal of -1 out of 3? If you flip this fraction, you'll get a 3 out of 1. And if you flip the sign, you'll get a positive. Is it this one? Yes. So these are perpendicular lines. Another way you may want to find out, another way you can find out if they're perpendicular, if you multiply their slopes, it has to give you -1. So meaning -1 out of 3. If I multiply it with 1 out of 3 over 1, do I get a -1? So this gives me -3 out of 3, which gives you a -1. You see? So you can use this, but negative reciprocal is the most common one. So let's look at this example here. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the slope of line AB. So slope of line AB is change in y over change in x. So this gives me 5 out of 0. So this is undefined. What about the slope of line CD? So this gives me -4 out of 0. So they are parallel, yeah? And which line has an undefined slope? So they are like this, vertical lines. So they never touch. Okay, if you watched my video about undefined slopes and then 0 slopes, you should know this by now. If you haven't watched those videos, please go back and watch that video. Let's look at the last example. To get the slope of CD, still subtract the y's. 1, and this gives you 1. So here we have a slope of -1 and a slope of 1. Question, are they the same slopes? No. So they are most definitely non-parallel. They are not the same slopes. If they were the same slopes, they would be parallel. But these are not the same slopes. Question 2, is one the negative reciprocal of the other? Let's find out. So this slope here is -1. What is the negative reciprocal of -1? You flip the sign, flip the fraction, so it will be 1. So yeah, they are negative reciprocals of one another. So these two lines are actually perpendicular lines. They intersect at 90 degrees. The slope of one is the negative reciprocal of the other. Oh, another trick is if you multiply the slopes, you get -1. So if I multiply -1 times 1, I'll get -1. So that's how I get to know that two lines are perpendicular. Whichever way you choose, that's fine. All right, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.